Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to unpack a system that really hits every pet owner right in the heart and, well, increasingly, in the wallet. I'm talking about modern veterinary care. If you treat your dog or your cat like family, you've probably felt that financial squeeze.
Oh, absolutely.
We're looking at a system where the cost of just loving your furry companion has become, well, just too expensive for millions.
And that's the tragic reality, isn't it? The core issue, and we see this across the sources, is that these costs are just skyrocketing. They're going up at a rate that's just not sustainable.
Right.
So it forces owners into these impossible decisions. They either have to skip essential appointments, which of course makes things worse down the line, or they're actually, sadly, surrendering their pets because they just can't manage the debt.
And when you actually look into the rate of that increase, the stats are, they're genuinely staggering.
Oh, they are.
Veterinary care inflation, it's grown at 2 times the rate of general inflation. So if you think things are expensive now, just double that for your pet's health.
Yes. And this isn't some, slow, gradual growth. It's an acceleration. And that pressure means something that cost you, say, $50 last year might be billed as $100 today. It just pushes standard care, annual exams, basic stuff, way out of reach for a normal family.
So our mission today is to really cut through the noise and figure out why. Why is this happening? We've got a whole stack of sources here that point to 2 major forces. They're intertwined, and they're driving these massive costs while at the same time actively limiting any affordable alternatives for pet owners like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to understand the whole system here. So first you have this massive consolidation of vet practices by private equity. That just fundamentally changes the game from, care to production.
We'll get into that.
And second, you've got this really powerful industry association, the American Veterinary Medical Association, the AVMA, and it's using all its regulatory and lobbying power to basically preserve its monopoly by fighting things like telemedicine. We're here to really unpack how this system now prioritizes money over the welfare of our pets.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start at the ground level with the business model itself. Why is veterinary medicine, so ripe for this kind of financial exploitation? It's not quite like human medicine.
No, it's not. It's largely because of the payment structure. Vet medicine is overwhelmingly a cash pay industry.
Right. No insurance backstop.
Exactly. One source called it no backstop. Unlike our healthcare, where, insurance companies or the government put a cap on what a hospital can charge, pet owners, well, they see their pet as family, and they are often ready to pay anything.
Which creates a perfect storm.
A perfect environment for these high incentive models to just flourish.
And that incentive model is built on what the industry calls production. So for anyone listening, what exactly does production mean here? Why is it such a problem?
So production is basically an internal metric. It's the amount of revenue generated from each individual patient visit.
Okay.
And the sources show that a really high percentage of a vet's own pay is often directly tied to hitting these high production numbers. This creates a really deep, troubling conflict of interest.
Because the incentive is to just sell more stuff.
Exactly. More services, more blood exams, more x-rays, more of those special diets, even if they're not strictly essential for that pet that day. We're talking up to 1/3 of a clinic's revenue can depend on this kind of upselling.
That just sounds like a model designed to squeeze every penny out of every visit, regardless of what's actually needed. Now let's layer private equity on top of this. So PE firms come in, they start buying up these small, independent, mom and pop practices. Why are so many vets even willing to sell?
Well, that's a crucial part of the story, right? It's not just corporate greed. It's also burnout and desperation from the vets themselves.
Okay.
A lot of individual vets are just saddled with massive student loan debt. The profession has one of the highest burnout rates of any field. They're exhausted. They often have no business training, no plan for retirement. So when a PE firm shows up with an all-cash offer that just wipes out their debt,
It's a lifeline.
it is. It's a life-changing exit for them.
So they take the deal, and now their practice, the one they built, is owned by investors, and their main goal isn't the pets, it's quarterly returns. So what does the PE firm do once it owns the practice?
Well, they link these formerly independent clinics together. They create these big regional groups. And while they might claim it's for, efficiencies, the real financial play is simple. They get regional density. They're essentially creating local monopolies. If they own 4 of the 5 clinics in your town,
They set the prices.
they can raise prices across the board with very little fear of competition. The sources are clear. This consolidation is happening massively. We're talking a third to maybe even half of all practices now.
But if they're so focused on profit, you'd think they'd invest some of that money into, I don't know, better service or modernization.
You'd think so.
There was one story where a vet asked for medical records from a newly PE-owned clinic and just got back 50 pages of PDFs with, like, scribbled notes.
And that's the contradiction right there.
Yeah.
They're optimizing for revenue, but not optimizing the actual service. They're focused on extracting value through price hikes and pressuring vets on production, not necessarily on improving the clinic's infrastructure. They know that because of that emotional connection, that love you have for your pet,
You'll pay
what they ask.
And that emotional leverage is exactly what fuels the upselling. They hit you with a, $5,000 bill for something like a routine teeth cleaning with anesthesia.
A procedure your dog might not even strictly need.
Right. And they make you feel awful, like you're a bad pet owner, for even hesitating or thinking about saying no.
It's powerful emotional blackmail.
Mm.
And the direct result of this high-pressure, high-cost environment is just devastating for pet health across the country. The fear of getting that guaranteed, $500 minimum bill just for walking in the door, it drives people away completely.
That's the most heartbreaking part of this, isn't it? One telemedicine company found that 50% of its customers hadn't been to a physical vet in 3 or more years.
Wow.
Just out of fear of that bill. So owners are choosing zero care, which is just tragic, instead of risking bankruptcy.
Exactly. And when you have tens of millions of pets getting zero preventative care, the demand for cheaper, easier solutions is, it's immense.
Okay, so if the price problem creates this huge demand for something more affordable, the next logical question is, who's stopping those solutions from getting to people? And this brings us right to the establishment, the AVMA.
The American Veterinary Medical Association. They are the main regulatory cartel that is preventing the expansion of affordable options, like simple telemedicine, where a vet could advise you or prescribe something after just a video call.
And the whole regulatory fight really comes down to this one powerful term we have to define for everyone listening. It's called the VCPR. What is the veterinarian-client-patient relationship, and how does the AVMA use it as a weapon?
The VCPR. It's the legal basis for a vet to actually practice medicine, to diagnose and prescribe. And the AVMA, along with many state boards, they mandate that this VCPR can only be established through a physical, in-person examination.
So that's the firewall.
That is the entire legal hurdle. If a vet can't establish that VCPR remotely, they can't legally diagnose or prescribe over a video call. It's a literal wall against virtual care.
And their public reason for this, for keeping this physical exam rule, is that telemedicine will harm dogs. They've literally said millions of dogs will die. That was a conference headline. That's the big emotional campaign.
And that fear campaign has worked really well. The sources show the AVMA has made vets feel like if they even try to diagnose something remotely, the FBI will show up at their house.
Seriously?
They have scared the entire profession into paralysis.
So that's the public argument. It's about safety.
Right.
But what's the private reason, the financial one? That's always more telling.
Well, behind closed doors, it is, and I quote, purely financial.
Oh.
The sources confirm their fear is that telemedicine will cause their whole brick-and-mortar business model to die. They're just preserving their monopoly by stopping competition, even if that competition is, better or more accessible for the patient.
But that just raises this huge ethical question, right?
Yeah.
If these high costs are leading to owners avoiding the vet completely, and so their dogs get zero care,
Right.
and end up in shelters, how can preventing affordable telemedicine possibly be helping pet welfare? It's like you're choosing the status quo of neglect over a better alternative.
It's an unacceptable choice to force on people. And because health law is regulated state by state, this fight has to be waged 50 separate times. And this is where the AVMA's lobbying power really comes into play.
And the sources say the AVMA and its state groups use millions of dollars a year to basically create legislative trouble for anyone trying to change this. Tell us about how hard it is to change these laws.
Oh, it's exhausting. It's a multi-year, multi-session battle. The AVMA uses every tool in the book. They hire former state health officials, they cite these vague safety concerns, and they use their huge budgets to just outspend any grassroots effort.
Wow.
In Florida, it took reformers for entire legislative sessions just to pass a law that allows a vet to use their own professional judgment about telemedicine instead of having a blanket state ban.
That level of micromanagement from a private group seems really unusual. What specific economic interest are they protecting with that much effort?
They're protecting their ability to control the entry point into the health system. That physical and very expensive exam, the fight's so intense it's even gone federal.
Right.
There's a case in Texas where a veterinarian is arguing that his right to talk to his clients through telemedicine is a free speech issue.
And that's a huge deal. The Fifth Circuit, which covers Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, actually ruled in his favor. That's a massive legal precedent.
It is.
But the AVMA and the state boards can just appeal or create new rules to get around the ruling, right? It just shows how committed they are to keeping that wall up.
It really does. It shows they will use every single lever, legal, legislative, and emotional, to keep the old, expensive model exactly as it is, even while human telemedicine is, easily handling complex issues remotely every day.
Okay, so we have high prices from PE incentives, and we have the AVMA fighting the solution with this VCPR rule. Now let's connect the dots to supply and demand, because this reveals another cartel behavior, actually limiting the number of veterinarians.
And this is maybe the deepest irony of all. We already have massive vet shortages. The profession has one of the highest dropout rates because of burnout. So logically, you'd want to just rapidly increase the supply of new vets.
Of course.
But the AVMA controls the accreditation of veterinary colleges.
Wait, they control the gate? They get to decide which schools are even allowed to train new vets?
Absolutely. The AVMA has a complete and total chokehold on the accreditation process. So by limiting how many schools get accredited and how big their classes can be, they effectively choke the supply of new veterinarians entering the field.
And the incentive, again, is purely financial. Less supply means more scarcity.
Right.
Which lets existing businesses, many now owned by PE firms, charge even more because demand is so much higher than supply.
The numbers are just staggering. The current ratio is about 1 veterinarian for every 3,000 pets in America.
Wow.
And just for context, in human healthcare, the ratio is roughly 1 doctor for every 20 people. And that's not even counting all the PAs and nurse practitioners that help doctors. Vets don't have that kind of support system.
And yet, despite this insane shortage, this powerful trade group is actively blocking new vet schools from even being developed. I mean, that is textbook cartel behavior. You suppress competition and supply to artificially inflate the price of your service.
And they'll even deny the shortage exists in their public statements, despite, overwhelming evidence from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showing vet costs and demand are just soaring.
So, given this whole restrictive, expensive system, let's pivot. Let's show the listener what this alternative, the one the AVMA is so afraid of, actually looks like. How does telemedicine offer options that can complement, not just replace, traditional care?
Telemedicine platforms, they offer an incredible amount of accessibility. If you take a service model like Dutch, for example, it's often a membership, you might pay, say, $100 for a whole year of care. And that can cover multiple pets.
$100 a year.
Yeah, that single annual fee is a tiny fraction of the $1,000 or more you could easily spend on just routine check-ins at a normal clinic.
And what does that annual fee get you?
So, crucially, you get same-day video calls with a local vet, and they're often available outside of normal business hours, like late at night when everything else is closed. Now, of course, you still need a physical vet if your dog, breaks a leg or swallows a needle.
Right, it's not for everything.
It's not for everything, but 90% of issues, skin rashes, minor stomach problems, behavioral stuff, can be expertly handled over video.
And a huge advantage here, one people don't think about, is pet comfort. For anxious dogs, or really for most cats, forcing them into a crate, into a car, and then into a clinic with all those sounds and smells, it's terrifying for them.
Oh, it's immense panic.
Telemedicine lets you get that diagnosis and treatment right in the comfort of their own home, which is so important for issues like anxiety.
And it prevents those unnecessary, stressful, and really expensive trips. There was an example in the sources. An owner thought their dog was having a seizure. A quick telemedicine call, and the vet diagnosed it immediately. It was just a common reverse sneeze.
I've seen that. It's scary looking.
It is. And the vet showed the owner a video to confirm it. That quick call prevented a panicked late-night ER visit that would have easily cost hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
And beyond just the cost, that ability to have consistent digital records for long-term issues, that's a game changer. If you have an anxious dog, you can't be doing frequent, high-stress, expensive appointments. Telemedicine lets you do consistent, affordable follow-ups that allow a pet to actually manage their condition over time.
That's the real application of this knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Telemedicine is filling the massive gap between zero care on one side and the unsustainable high-cost care that the current system is forcing on everyone.
So what does this all mean for you, the pet owner?
Well, this whole fight over veterinary care, it's fundamentally a conflict between consumer affordability and these established monopolistic financial interests. The current system, it's driven by private equity looking for quarterly returns, and is protected by the AVMA's regulatory chokehold. And it prefers the outcome of live-your-own care of dogs being surrendered or neglected over allowing affordable, accessible options to even exist.
And we should leave you with a final thought on this. The AVMA's core argument against telemedicine is all about safety, right? The idea that you absolutely need a physical exam for triage.
Mhm.
So if your dog ate a nail, the conventional vet lobby says you should skip that quick, affordable telemedicine call that could give you immediate advice. They would prefer that you either rush immediately to the expensive ER or risk going without any care at all. What does that tell you about their priorities? Is it the pet's immediate welfare, or is it protecting their fee-for-service model? It tells you exactly who the system is currently built to serve. If you feel compelled to act on this, there is a grassroots effort trying to change these restrictive state laws, this VCPR status quo. We're told you can visit savepuppies.com to find tools to contact your legislators and push for change. It's essential knowledge for every pet owner who wants to keep their furry family members healthy without facing financial ruin.
We hope this deep dive was useful for you.
We'll see you next time.